It is indeed, so we're going to avoid that. What do we have here now? Something very killable indeed. Nice. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on War Thunder with me, Spacefish. Today in a bit of a different setting. As you can see, we are in our naval hangars right now, and that's probably something that you're rarely going to see on this channel, because if you've at all been watching my streams, you will know that I really do not enjoy naval forces in War Thunder all too much overall, but what I do actually enjoy is the smaller classes of boats, the torpedo boats, the gunboats, the lower tier battles in War Thunder do feel very, very enjoyable to me. I just really never quite enjoy the higher up tier battles with destroyers. But looking at those smaller gunboats then, one of them that has always kind of particularly stood out to me as the most enjoyable thing in War Thunder Naval Forces period has been the PJ-02. Now this thing has been around for a while in War Thunder. I think it got introduced back in patch 1.89, and back then I'm pretty sure it was at a battle rating of like 2.7 or 3.0, where, well, quite frankly, it was utterly overpowered, because this thing does come with a beautiful, beautiful minigun right here that absolutely demolishes every other gunboat that you will ever find in this game. And, well, back at the old tier, that was most of everything that you were ever matched against. They did change it rather rapidly, though, up to 3.3, and now the matchmaking is a bit more balanced, I would say. You do get a lot of destroyers, which can get quite troublesome with this ship actually killing them, and if you basically get hit once by a big destroyer shell, you're probably going to explode and die a horrible death. So that has been balanced out quite a bit, but I would say that regardless, it is still quite the fun ship to be rocking. So looking at this thing real quick, for the main armament, as I just said, you get a minigun which has an incredibly fast fire rate. There is a little bit of a caveat with this, because if you look at this, you see there is two different configurations with the minigun right here, and I think if you buy this very ship, which it comes in at 3,850 gold needles, so round about like 20 bucks, I think, I'm pretty sure it comes with this modification pre-installed. I would very much recommend you instantly uninstall this modification, because it lowers the fire rate to 450 shots per minute, which, well, doesn't really make that much sense to me. I'm not sure why Gaijin ever introduced it, maybe as means to maybe nerf the ship for people that didn't have the awareness that it's there. It is kind of nice if you really struggle with the overheats on the gun, which is very much a thing to keep in mind with this. If you hold down that left mouse button for more than like 2 seconds, that gun will instantly overheat, and it'll take a long time to fix that overheat. So you want to be careful with that, but overall, in my eyes, it does not really make sense to ever have that modification installed. So always be wary of that. You don't want to have 450 shots per minute, but you want the original fire rate of this gun, which if you do use that original fire rate, you end up at 3,000 rounds per minute, which I think is a lot more, well, a lot better off an idea than 450, isn't it? So you get all of these things instantly unlocked when buying this ship, of course, this being a premium, so you do get some extra belts. I always really only use the APDS belts with this thing, which give you a pen of up to 45 millimeters rather, point blank at 10 meters, as opposed to the HEI belts that you have right here, which will do also feature some APIT, which is why you see that 53 millimeter penetration, but overall I guess would more be suitable if you want to focus exclusively on shooting down aircraft, which honestly you could do very nicely with those APDS belts too, so that would honestly be my recommendation of ammo usage for this thing. Speaking about shooting down aircraft though, as you can see up here, you do add a tier of 3.3, which honestly isn't really all that high. You do get radar, which, well, well, really works as an anti-air that you would be knowing from ground forces. So you're going to see it in a second when we roll the clips. But you do get a nice overview of what is flying around you. You can actually target airplanes and get a target indicator that way. Now that said, I am usually playing this stuff in arcade battles anyways. Like Naval Forces is literally the only thing where I ever play arcade games. And that way it doesn't actually matter too much. That said, if you do actually like playing realistic battles in Naval Forces, that is a very big helper, and regardless, even in arcade battles, it really nicely gives you a good overview of the battlefield. So very helpful in my eyes. Now what you also get is you get these smoke grenade launchers, 12 of them, which will get reloaded eventually as well once you make it to a cap circle. These do work quite alright. I do always kind of prefer just using the smoke generator, which you do also have. Don't seem to be seeing it here in the modifications, but we'll see that later in the clips as well. Just bear in mind that these decoys, as they're being called right here, you actually have to select in the secondary weapons screen as well in order to actually have some smoke grenades loaded. But that said, very nice and handy. You do have a lot of escapes that way. You have that smoke generator, as I said, which is always my preferred method. You do have those smoke grenades as a backup, so you can get somewhat nice and slippery. In terms of speed then and actual mobility, it is, well, kind of a mixed bag at this point. When this first got introduced, it was just really great in general. The max speed of 130 kilometers an hour, I think, has been very much similar ever since, because this thing is, in fact, actually a hydrofoil, so once you reach faster speeds, it will rise out of the water. That's kind of the way it achieves this high speeds, and if we look here quite closely, you can already see the little legs that the hydrofoils are going to be on. So very fast indeed. When it got brought out, my personal feeling is that it was a lot more maneuverable. Its turning circle was a lot narrower. That has, in my opinion, changed a good bit. So your turning circle is rather wide with this thing, and you will have to kind of keep that in mind. But that said, the incredibly high speed does indeed help you quite a lot actually weave through the battlefield, avoid some conflict where you don't want it, and hopefully also makes you a bit more slippery. So that is something that you can definitely use to your advantage, but this just being a small gunboat, of course, it is overall quite the class cannon in the way that you play it. There is no armor whatsoever, as you can see here, a whole 8mm superstructure, 3mm. There is no armor protection on this vehicle, basically, as the game is telling us here. And if we look at the X-ray, well, you know, you can kind of just see the modules. It's not too special, nothing too crazy overall. You can see the ammo storage right here for the Gatling gun that you have up front, and I'm pretty sure that overall there is like only 3 or 4 sections on this ship that once are blacked out, you will actually end up dying. So you'll have to keep that in mind. I mean, it just plays like any other lower tier gunboat that you would have in the back of your mind. It is very easily killed if hit with big shells, and you'll just have to do your best to avoid those big shells, and ideally also mostly avoid destroyers unless they are totally distracted and fighting someone else. But overall, I really just enjoy this thing. I mean, it's a fast, little, nimble, agile thing, and if you find anything that is not a destroyer, you will mostly absolutely destroy it, unless, as I said, you click that left mouse button a little too long and you do end up overheating that gun, which, as previously said, don't do that. It takes ages to fix, and you do want to be a bit conservative with your ammo too, because once you are out, which you only have 3,000 rounds of ammunition, so basically fire for a minute and you're out, you will have to actually go to a camp circle, and you'll have to stay in there for minutes up on end to actually reload that gun. It's going to take very long, and I'm telling you, you will probably not survive in a cap circle that long. So just a few things to keep in mind right there. But overall, really fast, enjoyable little thing with a freaking Gatling gun at 3.3 which in my opinion is honestly still very, very enjoyable. But with that said, I think it's time to actually get into some battles, to roll some clips, and hopefully give you guys a good impression of this little thing, and I hope you'll all enjoy it. Alright everybody, and welcome then to the Black Sea port. For a start, I do not seem to have an engine sound of my own, which is really weird, but that seems to actually be catching up. I chose kind of the furthest down spawn right here to try and somewhat stay a bit in cover, and as you can see, we've got some gunboats out there already shooting our way that we probably want to be a bit careful with, because anything armored may end up being a slight bit of a problem. There's also another PGO-2 out there, which is going to be a curious one, but the only way forward for us here is the only way is going to be forward for us here. So let's see about that then. I am going to go and use that smoke cloud, though, that we were talking about earlier, just to shield myself off here a bit. And we're going to try and actually get a bit of cover here from the advancing enemy fleet and not be the primary of theirs. But that does not seem to be working out all too well for me right now. So we've got the PGO-2 out here, currently kind of shooting somewhere else. I think we're gonna go and actually pepper him with a few shots and do a bit of damage, and then we're gonna try and stay around here. Now you can see kind of what I was talking about in terms of maneuverability. We have lost a good bit of speed right here, just trying to weave in and out. PGO-2 has been shooting our way again, which I do not very much like, so we will be shooting back at that in just a second here if we... No, we can't really. I think I'll just be joining up with my fleet right here. We've got a guy already... Well, we've got two people already all the way in there, so I think it's about time to join them. I just didn't really want to go first here, because if I do, I may end up getting wrecked. But that said, all my team's already dead, so that does not help either too much. Now, you got the PGO-2 out here that did apparently just end up dying to some heavy gunboat or something. That was pretty scary, not gonna lie. And, there's somebody out there. Probably want to be a bit wary about that one. And there he goes. Alright, nearly overheated the guns, but that worked out well for us. We've got that guy out there now, and we are on collision course with land, which is not great. And did I just end up overheating my gun? No, I didn't. I just went off target again. So let's try and get rid of him. There is a torpedo coming at us, which should be fine. Now we've got this guy out here. That is going to end up wrecking us, but we got him back to absolute insanity. 3 naval targets destroyed in our first game with a PGO-2. Let's move on to the next one then. Alright, and welcome to another one then. As you can see, we are doing Domination in the North Sea this time around, and I'm actually not quite in the spawn that I selected, so that is quite confusing to me. We will try and turn here without actually ramming into our friendlies and go the way we actually intended to. Now this map, I'm kind of hopeful is going to be somewhat good for us, because all the destroyers are probably going to be coming in rather late, and as long as we don't run into some gunboat with a huge gun that one-shots us, we should hopefully have a good time right here. Now that we have a minute to actually go to the fight, I just wanted to show you guys this here real quick as well. You can see that we've got the radar right here, and well, as I said, it really works like any anti-air radar that you would be used to from ground-based anti-air. Even the keybinds, everything's really the same, nothing crazy about it. Just very, very nice and handy to have at this kind of tier, to be honest. Yeah, so good thing I actually ended up bringing a backup vehicle to this fight, because we just ended up yeeting into the majority of the enemy team, and didn't really survive that too long. As I said, this is kind of a bit of a glass cannon, so ideally you just want to quickly fight one vehicle after the other, not all of them at the same time. That way you can actually be somewhat effective with what you are doing. So we're going to go around the other side of the map this time around. First things first, actually finding an S-100 right here that we should be able to nicely pepper with some APDS. Just always got to watch out with that overheat indicator. As you can see right there, I nearly already did that to myself. So very, very much got to be careful with that, but you can see just how much damage all these swarms of bullets really do as I get absolutely blown up. Alright, and welcome out here to the Lodian Islands. I hope I spelled that correctly. As you can see, I once more picked the spawn that's kind of the furthest away possible from any kind of destroyer contact, and hopefully that will, well, we will get spared that for quite a while now. This map, honestly, I'm kind of hopeful may be rather good for us. There is a lot of smaller islands that we can hopefully use to weave in and out around, and, well, hopefully stay in cover towards the bigger cannon boats, while at the same time destroying some of the smaller riverboats. So let's see how well that is going to go. For the time being, I'm going to go around here and kind of slightly somewhat make my way towards A. I think there's a few islands on the way here that we can sort of try and use a bit as cover. As you can see here, nicely, the hydrofoil, us just being raised out of the water and speeding all over the place at a beautiful 130 kilometers an hour. You can see just how quick that gets us to the cap. I think I may have another PGO. No, there's a PR206. It's darn fast. It's not even a hydrofoil, is it? It's crazy, the speed that that thing's going. But he is coming with me at just the same speed as I'm going. Now the question kind of being here, how quickly am I going to be able to cap A? I'm kind of thinking I may be going so fast, by the time the cap is like halfway through, I may have already shot out of here again. So we'll have to see about that. I'll just slow down a tad bit to hopefully aid myself in staying in here, because I don't see any enemies just yet. So, well, we may as well just try and get this thing capped real quick. I don't want to go totally stationary though, so we'll have to sort of mind that. And here comes our first enemy, being a peacock, which I think has a pretty darn large gun, to be honest. I do not like that whatsoever. We're gonna explode, I'm telling you. Beautiful. So, luckily, had a backup, and I chose the middle spawn in exchange now. Hopefully that's going to do a little bit better for us. I really didn't enjoy that big gun of the Peacock just exploding me like crazy. And I mean, as you can see, this thing has very much a big issue with armored targets, because, well, I literally do next to nothing to armored targets. Well, they absolutely chew me up, and especially then if you have something like that turret, which is also totally armored, and I can't really disable with some APDS very easily. That's just all a big issue. So we're going to go and head towards B this time around now, hope for some smaller targets. We already seem to be seeing a destroyer out there, which I also do not very much like, rather. So we will have to kind of see if he starts shooting at us. I'm just going to weave slightly just in case here, but I think he may, very much be busy with the other destroyer there, just slugging it out there. There was a PD-59 out here in B, but that is already kind of out of the way. And now we've got this thing here instead, which, well, should be rather low tier, but also rather armored, which I don't really like all too much. Gotta see how that goes for us now. As you can see, I'm not really doing much to it. There we go. And that's the first target destroyed. Now, something just hit close to me. I don't know what it was, but I know that I don't really like it. So, is that the destroyer? Oh, that is the destroyer's secondary guns and stuff firing at me. So, not all too beautiful here for us. I did cause a fire on that PR-1124, which is kind of nice. And we're just going to keep shelling him a bit from afar here while decapping B. I'm just going to go straight through, basically, because I don't really see myself stopping in the face of a boat that has this big a gun. Now, if only I would ever kill this guy. There we go. That would be absolutely beautiful. I think I've got a few things to repair. The Peacock is still chilling at A, I'm pretty sure. It is indeed, so we're going to avoid that. What do we have here now? Something very killable indeed. Nice. That's kind of the target I was more hoping for. As you can see, small thingies like these we absolutely just demolish, and it's quite the joy indeed. Now, I'm going to kind of be in the enemy spawn here in just a second, which I don't really like that much, but I'm already here. I may as well just pepper this guy with bullets for a second here before I move on. Hopefully not get killed by him, though. There we go. We're going to move out of the spawn again, of course, because that's, you know, a bit scummy just sitting around in there. And we're maybe just going to look further up towards A and the other spawn. Not into it, but, you know, cut the other people that spawn up there off from that. I'm also quickly going to see if I can just... Oh, no. No, 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 no. I don't like this. That is the Peacock lad, and he is very much coming my way. I'm going to see if we can't lock him up, but we've already got a fire indicator right there. And, he seems to be coming my way. Oh yeah, he very much is. Oh boy. Evade. We did set him on fire, which is a good thing. He did not hit us either, which is also a pretty good thing. And we're still alive, which is the third good thing. So, well, a bit messy, but I'm confident with that engagement. I'm trying to find out what that is out there. BMO. Not quite sure what that is, to be honest. There also seems to be more aerial targets, but behind me. BMO here being pretty small, but seems like somewhat beefy guns. Not quite sure, to be honest. Just gonna start sending a few shells his way, not really do much with it though. We gotta get closer to be effective here, and you can see he is doing quite the damage to us. I think if we stay here, he's gonna kill us. So we're gonna actually head out. Gotta expose our flank a bit for that, but that's gonna be the way that it is. I don't really want to get absolutely murdered by him. I'm gonna get some smoke up, I think. Just help my retreat a bit. I'm gonna let him push a bit more, and I'm gonna take care of the other dude to my right instead for a minute here. Hopefully, he's gonna actually stop seeing me through the smoke, because if he doesn't, that could be pretty painful, as my front is blacked out already, and the back part of the ship is kind of what's keeping me alive, and when my crew's at, if that part of the crew dies, that'll be rather painful. But so far, 4 people killed this very match. Not all too bad, if I say so myself. And we've got a 5th one coming up here in just a second, hopefully, as we go brrrrt on him. And as you can see, this is where this thing actually becomes effective. Yeah, like, this is where we actually start penning things and doing a whole lot of goodness with our APDS. It's kind of a bit of a challenge with a lot of these engagements. It's just got to get in range, actually, which, well, sometimes can actually prove to be quite the challenge. Now, there's an IL-2 coming my way, which I don't really like either, because I'm pretty sure that thing's going to go for me too, just given how light I am and how close I am in comparison to the rest of my team. So, I think we're just going to avoid the engagement with that ship over there for a second, and probably just focus on trying to get rid of that guy. So, we will just go line up for him. That way we can maybe bait him also into coming a bit closer. And then we will just send a few bullets his way. Don't overheat the thing. Uh-oh. And then we try and turn. And actually hit him. There we go. Aircraft destroyed. And, very close on the bombs, but, whew, that worked for us, luckily. It was a very spooky one, but he is out. Now, there is that next boat up ahead. There is also a PT-200 to our left, and my friendly ahead just got absolutely blapped by the theoretically already dead IL-2. So, not too great right there. The PT-200 just died. I'm kind of worried about the BMO being a bit too armored for me. I've got no clue how good or bad that ship is, so we'll have to see about that. I'm just going to actually take the chance to fix any potential leaks. And the BMO's dead. The BMO is dead. Okay, I can live with that. We can very much work with that. He killed somebody from the grave as well, apparently. But that is the game then won. Beautiful. 5 naval targets destroyed, 1 air target out of the way. Let's meet again in the main menu. Alright, so here we are then again with our beautiful PGO2. One thing that I actually just remembered out here is that Gaijin apparently totally messed up the numbers on this thing. I'm pretty sure this used to not be like this, and you can see like the offsetness between the numbers seems to be different as well between the 2 sides of the ship, and like PGO2 is pretty alright out here, and then the other side is totally messed up again, so there seems to be something fishy going on with the skin of this vehicle at the moment. But that is not what this is about, of course. We just had some fun with the PGO2, and I just want to go and quickly sum this up. I think all the clips really tell the story themselves, you know, the strengths and the weaknesses of the ship overall, what you can and cannot do with it, what you should and should not do with it, and that the ship is at this point also really quite situational. At the old BR that this ship was at, it was just absolutely wrecking everything it ever found, because it didn't really find any armored ships much at all, to be honest. Like, everything was just small riverboats, and you used to blap everything out of the way that even came close to you. These days, it's very much more that you gotta get a bit closer, especially on armored targets. That gets, like, really, really difficult, where you actually have to become closer. Like, I mean, if we look at the ranges here, if you shoot somebody from 1,000 meters, you're already only at 25 millimeters of pen, which is honestly quite low. 2,000 meters is 18 millimeters of pen, so basically nothing. So above 2,000 meters, you don't even want to engage. Below 2,000 meters, you gotta actually come a bit closer even than that to deal significant damage to people. But when you actually manage to get close enough, and they don't have huge guns that insta-blap you out of the water, you just go brrrrt with this thing, and it just blaps everything out of the way. So quite the enjoyable little thing, and quite the crazy little boat, if I say so myself. For me personally, it's been totally worth the $20. I never really regretted the purchase, and it's one of the few reasons I really come back to naval battles and War Thunder, and just have my fun with that every now and again. So for my side, honestly, if you like this type of playstyle and you just like the small river boats, and as me don't really enjoy the big destroyers all that much, definitely a big recommendation from me to look at that and maybe consider grabbing one yourselves. But well, that is about it. That's kind of my verdict on this whole thing. I hope you very much enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the clips. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my points down below in the comments. Do you maybe have it yourself? Are you enjoying this little thing? Are you considering getting it for yourself? I would be very much interested. But with that said, I'm getting ended off right here. So as usual, if you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to hit that like button down below, and if you're new around here, also, please make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below, as well as that bell icon if you want to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. And with all that out of the way, as usual, everyone, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I'll catch you in the next one very, very soon. Ciao.